Who is ready to make some science?
Hey everybody, it's me, DeoGenZ, here with another edition of OP Pokemon Trainer Strategy. Today we're going to be talking about the shiitake mushroom Pokemon, Shiinotic. Now, this Pokemon has some pretty clear stats that we're going to maximize in the next section, being special attack and special defense, but you note that speed? Yeah, biologically speaking it's very interesting because it's a fungus Pokemon, so it's kind of like a related cousin to Breloom. And Breloom was a lot faster, but both have access to Spore, and unlike Breloom, it's not a physical attacker, it's a special attacker, so I just enjoy when Nintendo comes up with another fungus Pokemon, or just another Pokemon of a similar form, but has vastly different stats and different playstyles, because I recommend having a Trick Room enabled when you pull Shiinotic on the field, or at least have your opponent paralyzed before bringing it out, if you're not going to Spore it. Now, going to the abilities, Illuminate is rather useless. It just attracts more wild Pokemon to you. It doesn't actually have a battle effect. Effect Spore, however, is a good ability to have, just as a general default ability. It's much better than Illuminate, in that you have a 10% chance of poisoning, paralyzing, or putting your opponent to sleep if Shiinotic is hit with a physical move. And finally, Rain Dish, the hidden ability, which is actually available, I think is the most useful ability, since it is a special wall and you're going to be wanting to have it on the field as long as possible. And speaking of the field, let's head out there and find out how effort value wise we would raise this Shiinotic. Pretty much clear, like I said from the stats before, you're going to want to maximize the naturally gifted stats of special attack and special defense for this Pokemon. It would be a waste really to throw your EVs anywhere else looking at its stats. And considering this, it doesn't have the highest health. You know, it's got a giant mushroom cap and it's pink, but don't confuse its giant bulky head for the bulky health of, say, a Blissey, because that's not really the case with Shiinotic. Rather, to correct what I was blathering on about before, just a few seconds ago, it's more of a cleric. It's more of a special, bulky cleric. And what does that mean? What is that word? If you're not into Dungeons & Dragons, maybe you don't know. But basically, it just sets up status afflictions and does some nasty things to your opponent to assist other Pokemon on the field. So really the question to be asking yourself when you're looking at Shiinotic on your team is, what utility does it play, and what roles will it help in boosting my team's stats, or lowering my opponent's stats and abilities against me? Say with Spore. Access to Spore is only limited to a few Pokemon, so having it on this Shiinotic is good, especially when you trap your faster opponents in a Trick Room. And maxing out your special attack, Moonblast, Energy Ball, and Sludge Bomb are the natural other moves to include onto this set, simply because Moonblast, Energy Ball, those are your stab moves, and if you don't know what that means, it stands for the same type attack bonus. So if you ever hear competitive players going on about, oh man, he just wrecked me with a stab move, that's what they're going on about. It's the same type attack bonus, meaning that if the Pokemon is the same type as the attack, well, it's kind of self-explanatory, they get a bonus. And then Sludge Bomb for utility against other fairies, which tend to have special attacks most of the time. If you caught the last episode of OP Pokemon Trainer Strategy, you'll know that I hinted that this Pokemon is really great when paired with Lurantis in particular, and that only happens when Lurantis has access to its hidden ability, Contrary. And so to refresh on what Contrary does, it will switch the effect of stat-changing moves, so increases become decreases and vice versa. Now what Strength Sap does, a move that I've only seen Shiinotic use so far, is take away your opponent or your allies' physical attack, lower their physical attack stat, and in place of the attack that is lost, Shiinotic regains some health. Now consider that for the Double Battle Arena. Instead of using Strength Sap on your opponent, lowering their attack, use it on your Contrary Lurantis to, instead of lower, increase, thanks to that ability, Lurantis' physical attack, and also regain health onto your Shiinotic. so that it can continue to spore opponents and clear the way for Lurantis to make its moves. And as with Lurantis last week, I recommend for Shiinotic placing it on a Trick Room team. I'll be talking about Trick Room setters in future episodes, but for now you need to know that these Pokemon, the last two, have been slow. They may be bulky, but that bulk comes at a cost, and it's usually speed, so please consider that in your metagame and get that paralysis or Trick Room going before you enter them onto the field. Well, I've been DeoGenZ, hoping that I'm helping you in your 7th Gen metagame. Be sure to comment below on which 7th Gen Pokemon you're most excited for me to cover in this series. And hey, if you particularly enjoy this series, consider supporting it on Patreon, where I give out shinies to patrons and enter them into battle competitions to premiere on future episodes of my Free Battle Fridays. So I'll see you in future episodes.